I have a ton of apples from my neighbor, and some of them are starting to look a little sad and getting kind of soft, so I want to get those preserved up. And this is something that I've never made before. I don't have it on the shelf, obviously, and it looked really good. I want to give it a go. So I had 2 pounds of cranberries left over from some Christmas jam that I made. So this morning I had to run to town anyways to grab milk and some like fresh fruit and stuff for the kids for the week, because it's the middle of the month, so I did a little bit of a restock. So I went and grabbed another 3 pounds of cranberries just from Walmart, and that's what I'm going to use today. But I'm going to start by getting my cranberries in here, and then I am just going to fill this roaster pan full of apples because I definitely have enough to do that. And then we're gonna make some cranberry applesauce. It is opening weekend, so my husband's gone, it's just me and the kids. This is a project that is gonna be pretty hands-off because once I get everything in the roaster pan, it'll be fine. I am gonna rinse these. I'm just gonna put all of them in here and then just use it and rinse it and dump it. I think that's gonna be the easiest way to do this. Cranberries look gorgeous in there. And you could definitely use this and just make cranberry sauce. We don't like cranberry sauce that much. There's only like 2 of us in our house that like it, so it doesn't really make sense for me to can it. But I am going to go get my bins of apples and start peeling away, getting those shoved in here. And then the only other thing I'm going to add in here is a little bit of lemon juice and some water. I'm just going to turn it on and let it cook down all day while I'm doing other things. And this is going to be a really simple, easy preservation project after the apples are peeled, of course. And then my chickens are going to get a whole lot of scraps today, and they will be grateful for it. These apples are Red Delicious, which is a different variety of apple than what we have used in the past. I have Red Delicious and Golden Delicious in here. I'm just going to do a mix. All of the other apples that we used were more soft apples. Well, I guess we had some hard apples in there too, but definitely no Red Delicious. So it's going to be a little bit of a different flavor than our other apples, which is also exciting. Just get something a little bit different on the shelf. I'm doing this backwards. My scraps go in the bowl. But in general, they still look pretty good for being picked at the end of October and not being processed until almost the end of November. So there are some spots that are kind of questionable, but they look pretty good. I like recipes that are really easy. So if you didn't have 5 pounds of cranberries or 10 pounds of apples, it's pretty simple to do the math to convert it, because it's just half your cranberries of the poundage of apples. So if you wanted to make this but on a smaller scale, maybe you just want to do it in the crock pot or on a pot on the stove, you definitely could. And just, it'd be really easy to convert, which is always really nice. I'm hoping I can get most of these apples taken care of. I've just had them in these bins on my front porch. We had them in the house, but it was getting too warm for them, so we moved them on the porch to hopefully keep them fresher a little bit longer, and it definitely worked. I was worried about the frost, but it didn't affect the apples, which is always really, really good. So I would have preserved them up earlier, but I went on a trip, so I just didn't have the time to get it done. So I'm really happy that the apples held. And then the rest of the apples after this, we're going to try to store in the fridge for fresh eating as long as we can. But it shouldn't be a problem. So I'm trying to leave the ones that are like pristine. They have no nicks or bug damage or anything on them, because those are the ones that are going to store the longest. So as I'm peeling them, I'm just picking ones that maybe aren't as pretty. They'll still be great for this, but they won't hold as long. So I'm just kind of picking and choosing. Also, Thanksgiving is in a couple days. I'll probably make an apple pie to bring to Thanksgiving. So some of these apples will be reserved for that as well. I feel like this apple looks great. There's no damage on it at all. It looks perfect. So I'm gonna save this and we'll store that one in the fridge. Same with this one. This one looks really great. So that'll be a storage apple. Where this one has a little nick on it. So this will be great for getting in the roaster pan. This is gonna make the whole house smell like Christmas. We put the Christmas tree up yesterday. It's become a little bit of a tradition that when my husband's gone for opening morning, we put the tree up while he's gone. So we just started putting some of the Christmas decorations up. A slow start. We'll probably finish it over the week. My kids have the whole week off this week, so this is gonna be the week to get some of those things taken care of, hanging out, probably clearing out some toys maybe before Christmas. So lots of things on the to-do list, but I'm gonna finish peeling these apples, just continuing picking out the good ones for storage and getting them in the roaster pan, and I'll see you guys once all the apples are peeled and sorted. I had some outdoor things, some chicken things, some yard things that I was wrapping up, so it's really nice outside today. It's like 42 or 43 degrees, which is unheard of in Wisconsin for the time of year that it is. So I forced everybody outside. You're going outside if it's nice out. So we went outside, I took care of what I needed to take care of, played out there for a while, back inside, baby's down for a nap. Afternoon cup of coffee with my Christmas mug. I just finished editing a video that's going up. This is my jam video. I'll link that video down below if you haven't seen that one. But our roaster pan is still going. I've just stirred that occasionally and my whole house smells like Christmas. It's like the best potpourri you'll ever have. But because Cleo's napping and my husband's gonna be gone tonight until after dark because he's in the deer stand, I wanna get dinner going right now. I wanna make a lasagna. It just sounds so good. So I think I'm gonna make a lasagna, maybe some garlic ball bread as well. The kids really like that. So I want to get those going right now, and then I'll just put the lasagna in the refrigerator, and then I can just put it in the oven probably about 45 minutes or so before we're going to eat. So I pulled out some Italian sausage. It's still hard frozen. I have that in some water in my sink right now, kind of getting ready for us to use it. I pulled out my Dutch oven. The next thing I'm going to do is make some lasagna noodles with my pasta maker. So I'm going to get my pot on for my water boiling, pull out my pasta maker and everything I need to make some lasagna noodles, and I'll see you guys in a second. This is my Pasta Beyond maker. If you're not new, you see me use this all of the time. It is one of my most used pieces of kitchen equipment. I got this as a Christmas gift 2 years ago from my in-laws, and I use it all the time. So the only reason I'm mentioning it is maybe you don't know what to put on your Christmas list, or you kind of want to ask for something that you're going to use a lot that's going to add to like your self-sustainability or add skills. This pasta maker is amazing because it just spits the pasta out for you. There's not a lot of like skill involved, I guess. Super easy. It makes pasta really quick because I get questions specifically all the time about the time that it takes for your fresh pasta. And you're gonna see, I just have my water up on the stove to boil, and by the time the water is done boiling and we're ready to dump in like your store-bought pasta or whatever it is, we're gonna be just about done making our pasta with this. So very simple. I have a whole video on this pasta maker. If you want to watch that, I can link it down below. But I'm gonna put in 2 scoops of flour. They come with their own little scoop here, so you just need 2 scoops of flour here. And then I'm going to do a double batch of pasta, which I always do, so it's hard to see, but they have little lines here. For a single batch is down here, a double batch is up here. I'm going to do a double batch. I'm going to crack in 2 eggs, put in a tablespoon of olive oil, fill the rest of it up to this line with water. I'm going to throw a little bit of salt in with my flour here. And then I like to plug it in and kind of get it mixing so that that salt and flour can kind of get turning in the machine while I fill up my wet ingredients. Got 2 eggs here. Put in our olive oil. So like right now I don't have to add any water because my eggs were big enough that it came up to my line for me. So now I'm just gonna mix this up. I do like to mix it pretty well because it'll get kind of caught in the slots here and can make it so you gotta finagle it a little bit to get in. But now I'm just slowly gonna add this in. It comes with a bunch of different noodle attachments as well. Udon, angel hair, linguine, spaghetti of course. You can make raviolis with this as well because it shoots out sheets of pasta. To be very honest, because we're talking about this, I'm supposed to use semolina flour for the lasagna noodles specifically. I never have. They do come out a little chunky, they do come out a little bit thicker. The texture is probably not what it's supposed to be, but it works well for my family. Nobody complains. The noodles are still really good, so I don't worry about it, but they're not as the recipe book intends. But I don't keep semolina flour on hand. I am looking to kind of purchase that in bulk somewhere for making like raviolis to blanch and get in the freezer and things like that. So I'm kind of looking into it, but it's not something that I've done thus far. I'm just gonna slowly add in the rest of our egg mixture here. And then I'm going to grab a plate to put on the bottom here for when our pasta spits out. I'm gonna add my eggshells to my scraps bucket. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is grab a butter knife to kind of scrape it off as it comes. And now while this is kind of turning, I think we're gonna switch our focus over to our sauce. Just kidding. Let's get our meat in the Dutch oven for the sauce, and then I'm going to start the garlic balls that we're gonna make really quick. I'm just now realizing I grabbed the wrong attachment head. Hang on, let me show you these noodles. So they're long, fat, skinny noodles. So I think I'm still going to bake it, and I probably still will just put it in layers. But this isn't the attachment head I thought it was. That's okay. We'll do like a baked spaghetti, maybe lasagna thing. But you can see how just gorgeous this pasta is. This will make a great Christmas gift as well. Whip up some homemade pasta, set it out to dry. I saw someone recently put homemade pasta in their dehydrator to get it to dry really quickly and just help it be a little bit more shelf stable. And I think that's a really great idea as well. These would be great for like a chicken noodle soup even too. I'm gonna see if I can find the right attachment head for this while this continues to just kind of spit out pasta. I'll come back and cut it periodically, but hopefully I can find my lasagna noodle attachment piece. I figured out what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a spaghetti pie because I can't find my lasagna attachment. I was just gone for a couple of days and my husband was running the kitchen. I know my husband said that he did use the pasta maker while I was gone. He wanted to try to figure it out. He's never used it, so he was curious on how it worked. So I'm going to assume that he just has a piece of the attachment somewhere. I don't know, because I'm noticing now that I'm missing some other noodle head attachments. So I'll just have to ask him where they are. He probably just put them away somewhere funky on me, which definitely happens. So I'm just going to make spaghetti pie. I have everything for it. We haven't had it in a little bit anyways, and it's essentially just like a really fancy lasagna. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to make another batch of pasta. A double batch makes 1 pound of pasta, but I need this to fill up the bottom of a 9x13 pan. So I'm going to make a second batch of noodles. And I've never made it with this type of noodle before, so I think that's kind of interesting. It'll be a little bit different. So I'm going to make another double batch of pasta here. You can see I have noodles hanging off here. It's not going to matter. I'm just going to leave them there. And then, bring it here, buddy. Once it spits out the next round of pasta, it'll be completely fine. So I'm going to do another batch of pasta here. I'm working on our sauce meats in the Dutch oven. I'm going to go downstairs, grab 2 jars of our home canned spaghetti sauce. Well, probably just 1 jar. 1 jar of a home canned spaghetti sauce. And then we're going to get ready to make our garlic balls once we can get the stuff up on the stove and we can focus on doing the dough for our spaghetti balls. They're not going to take that long.
Now, what are these called?
Noodles.
Noodles?
So Cleo ended up waking up from her nap. So I did a lot of things while I was holding her, so I didn't film. But what I did was make the dough for our garlic dough balls. That's what you're seeing here. I'll have this recipe linked down below for you guys. This recipe is really quick because it is only a 1 rise recipe. And we love it because obviously the little garlic balls, we just set this in the middle of the table. Everybody can grab a ball or 2 or whatever, and they're so yummy. Traditionally, this recipe has you roll every single garlic ball into like a garlic butter sauce. So you can kind of see I have right here. I didn't do that because Cleo was not happy this day. She's cutting some teeth, so she's just a little bit more irritable. So I was trying to get this done really quick because I was by myself this day. So I just kind of dumped it all over the garlic balls, and honestly, it worked. It wasn't as delicious. Not every ball was fully, but it worked pretty well. So I just set the garlic balls aside and let those kind of rise up for a little bit while I got together the base for my spaghetti pie. The spaghetti pie base is super simple. It's 2 to 3 eggs, just depending on the size of your eggs. You're going to scramble those up in the bottom of your pan. You're going to add in 1 stick of melted butter and about a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. You're kind of whisking that all together. It's going to create sort of like a paste that you're then going to take your pasta and toss it in and coat it in, and it makes this like crust for your spaghetti pie that we're then going to use as a base layer to top all of the other things with. So I'm just pulling out the rest of the ingredients that we're going to need here, which is a little bit of sour cream and then your cheese of choice. You can use a Colby Jack, you can use a cheddar, whatever you want. Today I'm using mozzarella, but we're just dumping in that melted butter. You can see here we're just stirring it together just like I said. It is really, really simple, a really easy dish, and this creates a lot of leftovers. We ended up eating off of this, I think, for 3 meals. So here is our fresh pasta that we just made. We're gonna toss that. Typically I would use my hands, but it was so hot, so I used 2 forks today to just toss it all together. You can see all the steam coming off of it. It was really, really hot. And like I said, I was trying to work really quick because Cleo was happily kind of like playing on the floor a little bit. So if you've ever had a baby like that, you know that sometimes it's like a ticking clock and you're just getting it done as fast as you can. So on top of our tossed pasta, you're going to take 16 ounces of sour cream, which is usually just 1 little tub of sour cream is 16 ounces. So I'm just guesstimating. I'm just going to spread sour cream all over the top of this until I get sour cream kind of all over the top of these pastas, or of these pastas on top of the pasta. And then we are going to take our Italian sausage and sauce mixture and pour that over the top and we're just creating kind of like a layered thing, kind of like you would in a lasagna. Once we dump that over the top, I just spread it out just a little bit to make sure that we get sauce everywhere, and then you top that with your cheese of choice. Really simple. Then you bake it in the oven. I bake mine at 425 for about 40 minutes or so, just until that egg mixture on the bottom is cooked. And you'll know that it's cooked because it should firm up. It shouldn't be loose or anything. You should be able to cut it like you would a typical lasagna and pull it out, and it should be able to stand on its own. It's delicious. So I put the spaghetti pie in the oven right away, and then let our garlic balls rise for just a little bit longer, because the spaghetti pie takes about 40 minutes where our garlic balls only take about 20. So about halfway through the cooking process, I put our garlic balls in the oven as well and let those kind of cook together. All while we're doing this, our cranberry applesauce is continuing to cook down. It's just cooking down in the roaster pan. Periodically, I'm giving it a little bit of a stir, but other than that, that's really it. It's a very hands-off project. So after I put the spaghetti pie in the oven and kind of moved my garlic balls out of the way, I checked on our cranberry applesauce, and it was pretty much done. So I whipped out my immersion blender and just started kind of blending everything up. Applesauce is probably my least favorite thing to blend because it's so thick. It takes forever. So I did this kind of over the course of like 20 or 30 minutes. I would blend it a little bit, put the top back on, let it keep cooking down a little bit, breaking apart on its own, and then coming back and reblending because it just took forever. I love my immersion blender, but the one bad thing about it is if you pull it up just a hair too high, you're going to splat all over the wall, all over yourself, which I definitely did. So I've definitely got a huge patch of pink all over my backsplash now. I got it blended down to the consistency of applesauce. Oh, you can see my little wall splatters. Oh, there it is. You see it? Oh, I was really not amused with myself, but it's fine. It happens. I just unplugged it. I let it sit, and I was kind of contemplating, do I want to can it now, or do I want to wait until after my kids go to bed? So I decided I'm going to wait till my kids go to bed. I wanted to give it a little bit of a taste. It was a little bitter. It was a little much, so I added probably, I wouldn't even say it was a cup. Maybe it was a cup of sugar, and then gave it another taste test, and oh my God.
This is delicious. I might like this more than any other applesauce I've made this year. I'm not even kidding. This is fantastic. I put in just, like you saw, a little bit of sugar. No, this is delicious. This is gonna make amazing muffins. I'm excited for this. I do have it off. I unplugged it. It's gonna sit here for a little bit. We'll can this up later, but I want to. My kitchen's trashed. There's just a lot of stuff going on. My sink's full of dishes. I never unloaded the dishwasher yet today. Food is still in the oven, so kind of my plan for the rest of the day is to pull out the food that we made, our spaghetti pie and our garlic balls. Those are just about done. We'll sit down and eat. We'll probably do an early dinner. It's a little before 3. I'll probably wait about an hour. I'll just pull everything out, leave it up on the stove, kind of let it cool off. Then in about an hour, probably around 4 o'clock, we'll sit down and we'll eat. And probably in the next hour, while things are cooling, I'm gonna do what I can. Whatever the kids will allow me to clean up in here is what I'll do. Get my water bath canners up, carry my jars up, and then that way, when the kids go down, or specifically the baby, when the baby goes down, I can get things kind of rocking on the stove and we can can up this applesauce. I'm excited to see how much I'm going to get from this. The recipe said 7 quarts, but I'm gonna do pints today, so it should be a good amount to get up on the shelf, and I 100% would eat that for breakfast with like some fried eggs and toast. That is my go-to breakfast, so I'm really excited about this. I also changed into sweatpants because the jeans were getting a bit much for all the cooking and all the working. So sweatpants it is. Here is our garlic ball bread. How awesome. That's delicious. So I'll let that sit up here and cool a little bit. I'm gonna let the spaghetti pie go just a hair longer.